The last few hours have seen areas of the U.S. waking up, and further details of the shooting, the gunman, and the response have emerged. If you're just joining us now, here's a few developments you might have missed. We've had a response from Melania Trump, who called the gunman a monster and acknowledged that both her life and that of her son Barron were on the brink of devastating change. The latest on the two injured victims is that they remain in critical condition. Their identities are still unknown. In addition to the shooter, one adult male died while standing in the audience. He has been identified as volunteer fire chief Corey Comparatore, 50. We're starting to learn more about the gunman, Thomas Crooks, himself. State voter records indicate he was a registered Republican. We now know that he did not have any military background. He was also a graduate of Bethel Park High School, and you can see in school yearbook image of him here. Our colleagues reporting from the area are telling us that police have closed off a wide vicinity around Crooks's home. One resident has said she has been evacuated from her home. Reports are coming through that explosive devices have been found in Crooks's car. The Associated Press and CNN are now also reporting explosive material has been uncovered at his home. This news line is still developing, and we'll bring you more as we get it. Comparatore died a hero. Finally, Shapiro takes one more question on Corey Comparatore. He says Comparatore died a hero. His wife shared with me he dove on his family to protect them. Shapiro says before walking off. U.S. President Biden called Governor Shapiro last night. Governor Shapiro says he is not going to answer questions on the ongoing investigations. He is asked about suspicious items found in the shooter's vehicle. Shapiro defers to his previous answer that law enforcement will be the ones to make updates on the investigation. Shapiro says he has not spoken directly to Donald Trump, but says he has spoken with U.S. President Joe Biden, who asked if the Pennsylvania governor had all the resources they need. He has directed flags be flown at half-mast in memory of Corey Comparatore. Above all else, we are Americans, Shapiro tells reporters. Volunteer fire chief died after diving to protect his family. Shapiro says he has been speaking to the families of the two people who were shot and are still being treated. He then goes on to pay tribute to volunteer fire chief Corey Comparatore, 50, who he says was killed last night and dived on his family to protect them. Shapiro says he is releasing the information after speaking to Comparatore's wife. He then turns to take questions. We'll have more updates soon. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro giving news conference. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro has just begun addressing the media from Butler County. We'll have lines from his update shortly, and you can watch live by pressing play at the top of the page. New law could boost security for Trump, Biden, and Kennedy Jr. A new law could give Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and presidential candidate Robert Kennedy Jr. enhanced Secret Service protection. Congressman Richie Torres, Democrat, and Mike Lawler, Republican, issued a statement saying, "Last night's attempted assassination of former President Trump was a dark moment in our nation's history. As reports continue to emerge, it's clear that more protection is needed for all major candidates for president. That's why we're planning on introducing bipartisan legislation providing President Joe Biden, former President Donald Trump, and presidential candidate Robert Kennedy Jr. with enhanced Secret Service protection. Anything less would be a disservice to our democracy." Suspicious devices found in Thomas Crooks's vehicle. Our U.S. partners, CBS, have spoken to a law enforcement official who confirms suspicious devices were found in Thomas Crooks' vehicle. Bomb technicians were called to the scene. We'll have more details when we have them. This is one of the nicest places you could grow up. I've just spoken to Lawrence Muir, a former Trump administration official who grew up just a few miles from the home of the gunman, Thomas Crooks. Muir, former general counsel and acting chief of staff to the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy, tells me it is an extremely close-knit community. This is one of the nicest places you could ever grow up. It's a time warp of how America used to always be, he says. It's a bubble. The Bethel Park area, he says, was, in his experience, largely apolitical. He saw it as a place to escape the stress of D.C. "I have a rough time making sense of it," he adds. Video shows Secret Service sniper on roof. Explosive material also found at Crooks's home, reports. Earlier, the Wall Street Journal reported that explosive devices were found inside Thomas Crooks's car at the rally, according to people briefed on the investigation. The Associated Press and CNN now both report that explosive material was also uncovered at his home, with both outlets citing law enforcement officials. Kamala Harris cancels campaign stop in Florida. Vice President Kamala Harris has canceled an appearance in Palm Beach, Florida on Tuesday. She was expected to moderate a conversation about abortion rights and Donald Trump's stance on the issue. In light of the horrific shooting in Pennsylvania, the vice president's planned campaign trip to Florida has been postponed, the campaign said in a statement. Gunman has no military background. Pentagon. The Pentagon has just confirmed the gunman, Thomas Crooks, did not have any military ties. We've confirmed with each of the military service branches that there is no military service affiliation for the suspect with that name or date of birth in any branch, active or reserve component, in their respective databases. Pentagon spokesperson Maj Jim Patrick S. Ryder says, "What do we know about the weapon? The photo is extraordinary. Taken by a New York Times photographer, it shows what appears to be a bullet in mid-flight passing right by the head of former President Donald Trump." So, what do we know about the weapon used in the attack, the damage it can do, and just how close Donald Trump came to death? The security services say an AR-15 was recovered from the scene. Sometimes called America's rifle, it has been involved in numerous mass shootings. It usually fires a 5.56 mm round, the NATO standard, although can be converted to fire other calibers. The AR-15 would easily be able to kill at that range, as evidenced by the one death, at least, in the crowd. According to Justin Crump of the security analyst Cebe, for assault rifles to cause maximum damage, the energy in the round has to dissipate, which requires a hard stop. It is the transference of energy rather than just the physical displacement caused by the bullet that makes assault rifles so devastating. The fact the bullet grazed his ear meant that the devastating potential energy contained within the round did not transfer. It will not have been without consequences, however, according to Crump. The shockwave past the eardrum won't have been fun, and it could leave an interesting scar, he says. Had the bullet been just an inch to the right, or the former president's head at a slightly different angle, all that kinetic energy would have transferred itself to him with devastating consequences. In short, Trump was inches from death.